What's up, Zoomies? Welcome back to the HVAC Zoomies, hosted by Rhydon and Rachael. It is time for the European leg of this season to start. We're headed to Imola, so those lights are going out.
And away we go.
DJ. She quick.
Yeah.
Again, everybody, welcome back. I'm Rhydon Atzenhofer. I am known as your host of the HVAC R&D podcast, and I'm so happy, as always, to announce my co-host, Miss Rachael from Spectrum Air Solutions up in Ontario, Canada. And Rachel and I love doing this show. It gives us some time to catch up before and after, and we also get to talk about some fun HVAC news, and then we'll talk about cars that go real fast. So, currently, there's all kinds of stuff to talk about in the market that's going on right now, one of which is Carrier has just decided to invest $1 billion to boost its U.S. production. So, massive influx in U.S. manufacturing from Carrier. Most of you guys know that I now work for Carrier Enterprises, so I am pumped to see my primary manufacturer dumping some money into the U.S. to help increase our domestic production, which makes me excited, which we already build a lot of products still here in the US and some in Mexico. So, this just keeps it going.
And they did this was part of, not to get too political, but this was part of, the Trump's agenda also back when he first got elected was saving jobs, and Carrier was one of the companies to keep more jobs in the U.S. So
you are correct.
He is doing what he said he would do, and I mean, we don't need to go down the political road, he's doing good things.
Yep.
For some.
Yep, we've had some in-depth tariff discussions on this show. We can leave it at that.
Yes.
But this is expected to generate 4,000 jobs. The aim is to also help hire another 1,000 U.S. service technicians, and also to train 100,000 climate solutions through, let me exactly see how this is working. They want to train over 100,000 climate solutions service and sales professionals. I feel like we're really working towards how we label ourselves service technicians. Apparently, we're climate solution service and sales professionals.
Ooh.
But they want to train 100,000 techs in the next 5 years.
That's amazing.
It will also fund the expansion of existing facilities and construction on a new site to support production related to components of heat pumps and battery assemblies. So, a lot of things coming.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, we've also seen that tax credits could be on the chopping block. And I think a lot of that comes with all the different stuff that's going on right now. And if you look, the tax incentives have continued to kind of get a little bit smaller. There's a bunch of stuff that's up to $2,000 that you have until 2032, but there is a chance that they could repeal the current bills that allow the 25C and 25D tax credits to go into place, and they would end at the end of this year. So I'm not sure, but it looks like that could be going away, which if that does happen, then there could be a reduction in desire for super high efficient equipment in certain places. And it could also hurt geothermal and some other things. So I'm not really sure yet.
Well, here in Canada, we had a lot of that too. In the last few years, with tax credits for switching over to heat pump and things like that. And, just doing home renovations, make your home more efficient. There was a lot of credits out there. And unfortunately, they ran out of money and had to shut it down pretty early. So I think and this is just rumor, but that with the newest election, that we will see a lot of that coming back, which is it was really good for the economy. It was excellent for, you know, just changing things over and getting you know, some eco-friendly solutions out there.
Well, and it's definitely driven, the demand for heat pumps in the market, the
Hmm.
demand for additional geothermal, but it looks like some of that could be changing. And we expected there to be different changes and different things, and going into this crazy refrigerant change, which has really upset the market in general. It might actually warrant something different than what's on the books right now anyway. So, this may be going away, but there may be something else coming out that makes more
Hmm.
sense. We really don't know yet. We're not the lobbyists, so who knows? Um, Other interesting fun fact, speaking of refrigerant headaches, is Trane announced that they will be increasing the pre-charge levels of R454B in some of their equipment that can handle it, and they're doing it with a surcharge of between $25 and $50. It also now looks like, to combat that, Carrier will be doing the same thing with no surcharge. So go Big Blue.
We're not biased here at
I'm
all.
weirdly partial now. Sorry, everybody. But no, and I think you're going to see other manufacturers follow suit, because the problem with this, the problem is not availability of refrigerant. The problem is availability of the A2L rated cylinders that they put the refrigerant in. And as we've said before, and I said it on a show earlier, R32 people think is the solution. We'll just move everything over to 32. That's not going to be the long-term solution, because
Mm-mm.
guess what? They use the same cylinders. There's not as big of a demand for that refrigerant as a standalone right now, because only one of the major manufacturers went to it. But if suddenly everyone tries to go to it, guess what? You're just creating the same problem again.
Yeah.
So I say give it a month or two, and more than likely R32 will be a problem too. It's just not there yet.
Well, this is good to see, though, that there are some creative solutions coming up with how we're going to navigate through our the problems we're having, and looks like Trane and both Carrier have come up with a short temporary solution for now, right?
Yeah. And the interesting is, is it going to have a long-term effect on the market? Is it going to stay that way? We don't know. Right now, we don't know anything with a lot of this stuff. We're just hoping that cylinders show up and drums start moving and refrigerant prices stop getting stupid,
Hmm.
because, it hurts the homeowner, it hurts the contractor, it hurts the distributor. The amount of every conversation I have right now almost seems to start with, "Hey, you got any 454?" I mean, it's like gold right now.
Well, and I just had this conversation with our dear friends, the Doc and the Foodie,
Yep.
where they were Elia was looking for an adapter for the 100-pound cylinders. Here in Canada, we can't seem to find one because it's a reverse thread.
Yep.
So we can't seem to find one. And so we, like, Doc and I just happened to be at a trade show. So we were going around booth to booth looking to see if anyone has a solution for this. We came up empty handed, but, the good old Google saved the day in the end.
Now, where I was before, we had ordered some adapters from Yellow Jacket. Was who we had ordered a bunch of adapters from.
Do
That would
they? Okay, they have one for the 100-pound cylinders.
ooh now that they may or may not. It
Because
it would surprise
yeah,
me if they didn't, though. But that's what we had
they
stocked for the regular drums.
yeah. So we didn't have one. We didn't see anything for that from Yellow Jacket. We actually, who was it? Was it JBL? JBL has one. JLB.
They may.
JBL. Yeah, they did. So we did find a solution for it, but yeah, there's some trickiness now with things we didn't have to think about really before. Like, didn't think about, well, like, oh, we need an adapter for this new cylinder.
Well, and
Oh
that's
shit.
that's been this whole thing. Every bit of it was it's become so much more of a pain in the rear end than I think we even anticipated it to be. And we all knew it was going to suck. All I can say is thank God we didn't do this and Sear 2 at the same time 2 years ago when they wanted us to.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Well,
would have been a royal nightmare.
we went through this when we, for all you oldies but goodies like me, who went from 22 to 410.
Yep.
Right? When we made the big transition, we all suffered. We're like, oh my gosh, I can't work on this. This is way too high pressure. My gosh, I'm going to die and blow my face off. No, that didn't happen, but we had to adapt. And so here we're finding we're just having to adapt again. And there's going to be some growing pains, but we'll get through it, guys. We'll get through it.
Well, and there always are. Mm-hmm. Anything new is always going to encounter resistance or encounter a headache or something else is going to cause a problem. It's just the way it is.
I can still remember working on my first piece of equipment with 410, and I was just terrified. And I mean, obviously now it's getting phased out and it's like no big deal. Well, now we're sad to see 410A go, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it would just have to be adaptable as always.
Well, and it's funny that it's the same kind of fear, like, oh, this is going to blow me up. Well, guess what? The fear with A2L was like, oh no, it's going to catch on fire and blow me up.
And no,
it is not.
We're going to be just fine.
Having grown up in a family HVAC business, I know firsthand what it is like to have hired someone that you had to train for weeks just to get them up to speed. But what if they came trained, certified, and ready to work on day one? That's what Apprentice Now is all about, providing contractors and businesses with employees that are trained first so that you can hire right. If you want to know more about what Apprentice Now can do to help you and your HVAC business hire quality new technicians and installers, visit HVACRD.com, check out the vendor hub, and click the Apprentice Now link to get started today. Well, folks, there was the HVAC news real fast. So now we got to get to the cars that go real fast, which the last 2 weeks have gone by so fast that I can't halfway remember what happened in Miami. But we're gonna try to remember it and talk about it anyway. Mm-hmm. So I guess to start, we will review our Miami bold predictions. So we're going to start with Rachel.
Yes.
So Rachel predicted a 2-stop strategy. We were very hopeful. It did not happen.
It did not, no.
So denied. Prediction number 2, Williams in the points.
I did get that one.
You got that one.
Yes.
So Williams were in the points. We even got some great radio out of it. We'll talk more about that. And then lastly, we had Yuki in the top 10.
Yuki.
Which technically
so proud of my little guy.
He was in the top 10 for the sprint race.
Yeah.
And he was also 10th and the last guy in the points during the real race. Just barely edged out Hajar from Racing Bulls. It was right on it.
Yeah, that was close.
So 2 out of 3.
I mean, not
for the
worst.
HVAC Rach. Yep. Solid performance.
Thank you. Yep, the 2-stop really screwed me up there. I thought for sure.
We were hoping, because it was hot. It was super hot and softer tires than the year before, but maybe they needed to go down one step more. Maybe next year.
Their strategy was just too good. Everybody's just
too good a strategy.
Good a strategy.
Well, and some people got lucky with that VSC too. That helped a little bit. Mm-hmm. All right, so my Miami predictions: Lando gets a win. Hey, he won the sprint race.
Okay, all right, yes,
he did. Charles is going to try and go long. Now, this is where I got to figure out how is fair to score this. So, it's nice that F1.com has a pit stop summary under the race results. So if you click the old pit stop summary, Charles pitted on lap 29. Now, there were 4 people that pitted on lap 29. Only 2 pitted further out.
Right.
So, and he was the last person time-wise to pit on 29 tires. Or excuse me, on 29 laps. So technically he was third person, third to last. Is that the right way to say this? Or second to last?
No, third.
No.
He was the last of them, wasn't he?
Well, he was the last of the 29 lappers.
Yeah.
So two people pitted longer than him. So if Hulkenberg at 36 laps pitted, Pierre pitted at 32, Charles was the last one at 29. So is that not second to last because he's not the first one close to last? He's the second one closest to last?
I guess.
Oh, that's a tongue twister of a topic.
It is.
So since George also went long, both the McLarens technically went long. I don't feel like I can get a point for that. I wish I could.
See, and I would have given you the point just because it was the 3 of them that pitted that went that long on those tires, and he had the best result out of the 3. But he also
because both the McLarens were 1 and 2. And George
but when did the McLarens pit?
Lap 29.
Oh, never mind.
They were 30. They were 30 and 20 seconds ahead of him. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Even though they technically were some of the longer stints, I don't feel like he pitted late enough to be considered going long, since the same people that won the race had the same strategy. So he didn't really get to flip the script by going long. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm talking myself out of a point here,
which is valid.
But it's fair. So no point there. Fernando cracks the top 10. No, he cracked the wall. So
he cracked himself.
Yes.
In the sprint.
So DNF.
Yes.
Unfortunately, and then he had a very, very rough race result as well, coming in 15th a lap down. So it was not a good weekend for the Aston Martins. But yeah, so which bold prediction was most surprising to come true? Probably both the Williams in the top points, maybe.
Yeah.
Considering Carlos had some damage from lap 1, he was able to hold on.
I mean, technically, I think I should be getting 2 points for that, but hey, I'll take the 1.
Well, if you had said a Williams gets points, and then maybe both of them, but you said Williams in the points, so you didn't specify if it was going to be singular or plural. So
fine, you got me on a technicality,
but you're still winning 2-1. Yes. Eventually, I'll figure out the points because I've got them highlighted in all of our different sets of notes. I just every single show I'm like, I'm going to tally these up at some point, and then I don't do it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I really was hoping we could get a 2-stop. I really was.
So was I, because the strategies were like the way they operated out of the pit lane was just kind of madness in and out of the pit lane. So, it would have been so much more entertaining if we had a 2-stop.
And I mean, I'm all for can we do it on 1 stop? But when you get a 2-stop race, a lot of the times you just see a lot more opportunity for something. For something to go wrong. Because as race fans, we always want there to be a calamity of some sort to shake it up a little bit. But I don't know. I gotta sneeze.
That's a very long sneeze.
That's because it's building for another one.
Okay.
Okay, I think I'm safe.
Okay, good.
I don't know.
Well, because I just muted myself to burp. So it worked out well.
Perfect. So, McLaren were a class of their own out front. They absolutely just ran away with it. Now, I will say Max absolutely worked his socks off to keep Oscar behind him as long as he did.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And Max got very unlucky with that VSC. That VSC let Russell jump him, which had that not happened, Max would have been on the podium.
Yeah.
And honestly, as hard as he raced that race to even stay up there, I almost felt like he deserved the podium, but unfortunately, no.
So the safety cars really, or like VSCs and the safety car really played a huge role in both the sprint and the race.
They did.
Right? So
they did.
Yeah. That's always that wild card that you can't anticipate, no matter what how the drivers are doing, and so what the standings are. So it's nice, even though I didn't get the 2 stop that we wanted, we had the safety cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Now Ferrari, poor Charles, he did not make the sprint race because he crashed on the grid lap, not even on the formation lap because of the rain. Just it happens, unfortunately. It usually doesn't always happen to the ones that have been around a while, but it does at times. So no luck in the sprint race. Now, I think he got to what, top? Didn't he finish top 6?
He did, yeah.
For the Grand Prix. So, his
7.
attempted long run. Just kidding. His attempted long run, we'll call it that, got him to 7th. Finished just ahead of Lewis. Now, Lewis is still extremely frustrated with that car. He is also continuing to be rather frustrated with his race engineer.
Fantastic. The highlight of the race was the radio.
Yep. So this was definitely a race where the radio comments were on point. And then, Lewis was not happy on the radio. Carlos was really not happy on the radio. I know James Vowles has had to come out after the race and he had a very unhappy Carlos Sainz after the Miami race. So he's been addressing that with the team. So we'll see what happens with Williams this week. In terms of the Mercs, George Russell continues to be Mr. Reliable top 5 right now.
Yeah. Yes.
6 races, 6 top 5s, 3 or 4 podiums out of that. Kicking along right there in the top.
He's doing great. Standings. He's consistent. Yep. He's so good. And Kimi, got to give it up to Kimi. Yep. Like, he is 100% going to be Rookie of the Year if he keeps this up.
I think Kimi is well positioned to have been a excellent addition to Mercedes. Now, I have not watched his short documentary that's come out on Netflix. Have you seen that yet?
No.
So it came out, I think, last week. It's called The Seat, and it's literally about how he ended up getting called up to come into Mercedes this year.
That was a smart move by Mercedes because he has been incredible.
Yep. So I'm excited to watch that at some point and report back.
Well, and I mean, he did qualify pole for the sprint. Unfortunately,
youngest pole sitter in history.
Well done, little buddy. So. But then, after the first turn in the sprint, he dropped down how many? 5 positions?
4 or 5 places, and I think he recovered to 7th in the sprint race. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's first time on the front row in an F1 car. He's been on the front row in other series, but front row in Formula One's a different animal.
He did great.
Which also, front row in Miami is not on the racing line, and they had just had a washout, so no grip at all.
Yeah.
He's lucky he didn't tumble further down. So
yes.
So more power to him for keeping it together.
And then he also got royally screwed in the pit lane.
Yep.
By Max, and not even Max. It's Max's team, right? That came down to the team. So
and Max was vocal, even to his team, come on, guys. He knew that he'd messed up, not only their race but somebody else's.
Right.
Because he loves little Kimmy. It's his buddy.
Who
At least
doesn't?
according to all the memes we see, that's his little buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, good race. Williams, can't say enough. Alex Albon continues to be a fantastic professional for them,
So
leading that
good.
team. I think Carlos in the long run potentially may take. I think he takes a bit more lead based on experience, but Alex is proving that he has really matured into a solid F1 driver with Williams and continues to improve with that car.
Yeah, I believe if we saw this Alex Albon in the Red Bull, like when he did drive for Red Bull, like
Yep.
those two could be unstoppable.
I think so too. Now, and I've seen some. I saw an article yesterday. I didn't read it, but I saw the headline that now supposedly there's even heat on Christian at Red Bull.
Ooh.
So there is. I feel like Red Bull is heading down a path of another big shakeup at some point, especially with if Max just isn't happy, they're going to be in trouble. I
Mm-hmm.
think. I think this is probably the most at risk they've ever been of losing Max is going into this year or going
Yeah.
into next year.
Yeah, and I mean this is also because he doesn't have the strength in his racing mate as he
No,
did with
no, he
Sergio,
doesn't.
right?
And Checo just fell off. I hate to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Checo's became more of a crisis of self confidence than anything else. I hate to say it, but I feel like just the poor result after poor result after poor
Yeah.
result just in some ways broke him down.
Yeah.
Now Yuki is I think he really is doing well. He
Mm-hmm.
did better in the sprint race than he did the regular race. Some of that again could be, VSC caused some shakeup in a little bit of the middle of the pack where some people would have finished. But all in all, he is at least getting some points for that second seat finally
Yeah.
because they have desperately needed that. Now, I don't see there being I really don't see them having a means of even recovering the team championship at the moment. I just don't see
No.
it happening
No. Either do I.
because they're already, you know, 141 points behind. Since 1961, JP Lamborn Company has been the name behind some of the best flexible duct products in the business. A third-generation family-owned company that built its legacy on integrity, innovation, and service. That same spirit drives them today, with antimicrobial technology, top-tier materials, and a relentless focus on quality. When contractors need a product they can stand behind, JPL delivers. It's more than just flex duct, it's peace of mind. JPL, the name you know, the quality you trust, and the flex that delivers.
Yeah. No. And with the strength of McLaren, I don't think
No,
that's going to happen.
you're not catching them.
No.
Now, it is interesting. I saw there were also a bunch of things that came out this week with talking about the McLaren wing that it's been moving too much so it's created too much mini DRS, it sounds like. So I know there's been some crackdowns. They've got to change some stuff on their wing. Now I'm curious if they don't get that right for this race, will there be a disqualification or anything like that due
Yeah.
to those changes? We don't know. So, that could be thrown out there, especially after, we can start getting towards Imola. I watched a bit of practice 1 this morning and was looking at results from practice 1 and 2,
Ooh.
and Piastri is number 1 in practice 1 by 0.03 of a second. Carlos
Nice.
was number 3 by 0.05 of a second. George was right behind him by 0.02 of a second behind Carlos.
Good old George. Consistent George.
So he's staying right up there. Max was 7th in practice 1. Let's see, practice 2. Oscar, Lando, Pierre, George Russell, and Max. Now, here he is. This was the one I was curious about for P1 and P2 is who we didn't talk about is the return of Franco Colapinto to the
Oh
grid.
yes, yes.
Yeah. So he was
Who's out? It's
so he took Jack
Gabrielle.
Doohan's
Oh,
place for
Jack
the
Doohan.
next
That's
5
right.
races. So I guess I haven't read all the news around it, but I'm guessing, he's got 5 races to prove he deserves the seat for the rest of the year. If not, do they give it back to Jack? I have no idea. No idea. So that's going to be an interesting one right there. We've seen so much. I think we've seen more drivers shuffling in the first 6, 7 races of this season than we've seen in years,
Which has been awesome.
except for those that are getting shuffled out.
Well, I know,
mean,
but it's very entertaining.
Yep. So again, back to P1 in Imola today. Oscar, Lando, Carlos, George, and Lewis, top 5. P2 was Oscar, Lando, Pierre, George, Max. So Oscar and Lando, which it looks like their P2 top times are about a second faster than their top times in P1.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be curious if in P3 tomorrow morning, how much more will they shave it down below 1:15? Because currently, what was the lap? I know it looks like Lewis still holds the lap record from 2020. It's 19 turns at Imola, just like it was in Miami, and it is the Autodromo International Enzo Edino Ferrari. So it is the track that holds the name of the Ferrari namesake. So the prancing horses need to prance their ass up the grid a little bit for this one if they want to if they want to help their season out a little bit. But looking at where we were there, Charles was 6th.
Yep.
In P2, Lewis was 11th. That car is just, I feel like it really fell off from last year.
Yeah, it definitely has. Or it's just everybody else is just getting stronger. That's like, look at that grid. Like,
I know. Well, and it's that too. It's that too, and it's we don't know exactly where every team's real focus is right now. Mm-hmm. Obviously, teams at this point are heavily having to start focusing on 2026. Everything that we've read from Aston Martin is that's really their main focus with Adrian Newey. He doesn't want to touch the current car because it's not his, and he doesn't want to own what's not his.
I'm so excited to see what he does here.
I know, I am too. And
that might have been the biggest news that came between like last season and this season. That might have been
that was a huge one in terms of non-driver moves. Yeah, that's the biggest move of anybody else.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Now, forgot where I was going with that. But no, so
Ferrari,
Well, but I was going to say I saw another article that said that Fernando is now he had a backroom discussion with development and with Adrian Newey, and after having that discussion, he now is not upset that Newey is not focusing on the current car. So, now we're getting our Spanish legend to have a little bit of buy-in for 2026. So that makes me excited.
I would love to see him come back for another year.
I hope. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I hope he races until he falls apart.
We might be getting there. He's an old boy.
Oh, well, and I mean, we've had some great radio from him as well.
Yeah.
Over this season, I'll say that. He's always had good radio.
He's just a gentleman too. I just love him.
Just a legend. So
yeah, he's just here to help the team and do his part and look handsome.
That's
it.
So going into this race, very traditional classic European track.
Yep.
We've only got one DRS zone. We've got multiple short to mid distance straights.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not an easy track to pass on at times, especially as big as these dang cars are.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for them to pass. It's not Monaco level hard to pass, but it's a tight track. So I'm curious. This track can also play really well to people who, people like Max, who
Yep.
can build and pass and do very well without having to always have DRS. So I'm curious if that will help bring him a bit more into this top three battle this race, because McLaren's not going to have long straights to just blast away from people to pass
Right.
them.
And Max is the king of braking late. Like
Yep.
this is going to be a really good course for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he may not be in the very top in the practices, but I don't put stock in the practices. They're just interesting to see results from, but they don't prove anything.
Yeah. Qualifying is where you can really get a
Yep.
sense of what's going on. Yeah.
So with a lot of that being said, I don't know if we're gonna have a chance at a two stop, 63 laps, but I don't know if we'll have a two stop. Now I did hear, I couldn't find my article that gave us the tire compounds, but
I was just about to say, I think that's going to come down to tire, because this is going to be, depending on what they use, this could be really tough on the tires.
Tires for 2025. Let's see. So we're running the C4, C5, and C6. So C6 is a new compound. It is the softest. So we're using the softest group of tires. Now, I don't know how much.
Could be a two stop.
Yeah, we might get lucky. Who knows? Let's see. So let's go check out.
Or because of the lack of ability to pass, you might see some really dangerous moves by some people.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
And it'll come down to the safety cars.
Yep. So I mean, it's as usual. It's a toss up for what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're terrible. We're terrible sports journalists, just so everybody knows.
We have no idea.
I used to get paid to be a sports journalist. I probably couldn't anymore. Don't have the time, but I sure still have the love of sport. I'll say that.
Yes. Well, I don't like any sports really other than F1. So
as long as it's burning fuel, I'm interested, at least a little bit.
I mean, that is my life. I am like a burner tech through and through, right? So
that's true.
Yeah.
So with the possibility of a two stop, that's nice. Mm-hmm. But I guess as we get into this one, since you were the winner last week, does that mean you go first again?
Oh, do I go first again? Okay.
Oh, wait, actually, before we do that, we got to do one other thing before we do Imola bold predictions. We do need to review our current season bold predictions.
Oh, yes.
So mine were Lewis wins in red. Thank God for the sprint race, because I don't think he's winning another one. Williams podium. Alex was in fifth. He's pushing. Mm-hmm. And, hey, Carlos had some speed in one of the practices, so you never know.
It's coming.
We'll see what happens when we get to qualifying. Piastri asserts dominance.
Yeah, you got that.
I think I'm gonna notch that one up, because after 3 in a row, I think I'm 2 for 3 so far this season on the season-long predictions.
Gosh.
And so Miss Rachael, Lando continues bad starts.
Okay, he did though.
Now he did slide back a little bit. So we're gonna highlight. So this is 4 words. So we're gonna highlight Lando. We're gonna start building a case for bad starts. Mercedes struggles. Could you say that Kimmy's bad luck off the line is a Mercedes struggle in the sprint race?
No, because and as much as I would love to give myself a point for this, no. I mean, he started in the wet and he was neck and neck with Piastri. Like Piastri is a pretty aggressive driver. So
Yeah, he's in a
he
rocket
lost
ship.
it in the first turn. I don't think that was really his fault.
Okay.
I
All
don't
right.
know. I don't think
So,
I
and
should get a point for that one.
all right. So, the jury is out. All right. So, and then Yuki gets a podium. Now, I will say the fact that he is in a Red Bull and not a Racing Bulls, you're partially the way there. We just need
Yes.
we need another crazy weekend to flip the script a little bit and get him up there.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So now that we're caught up there, Imola bold predictions. What's up, trade crew? You've heard the buzz. You've seen the press gang at every single AHR. Contractors across the country are ditching their torches for RLS press fittings, and they're not looking back. Why? Because RLS lets you finish faster, safer, and cleaner. From rooftops to mechanical rooms, crawl spaces, and attics, it's a press and go solution that's leak tested, UL recognized, and proudly made in America. Make the switch to RLS and take the heat out of your installs, literally. RLS, rapid locking system, press forward and press on.
Okay, I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see a safety car predict more so what how. I don't know.
Safety.
How do I word this? I think the safety car is going to be a factor in this lineup.
So safety car makes its mark.
Yes.
We'll give
I
it
like
that.
That's nice.
I'm gonna say Max pulls out a top 3 here.
Ooh.
I think this track is
works for
good.
him.
This is a track that's around the way he can make more out of a car when he's not got people using DRS to blow him up. So I think Max is at least going to get a top 3 here.
Okay. I still think we're gonna see. I still think we're gonna see one of the two McLarens on top. I don't know if that's a very bold,
for the win.
Yeah, I don't think that's a very bold,
That's a safe. That's a safe-ish.
That is kind of safe, but this isn't a great circuit for them.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, it's any circuit right now is a great circuit for them because they can haul ass. That was like trying to say there was a bad circuit for Max in 2021 or 22.
Yeah,
like no,
true.
That car blew everybody away. Yeah. So, and like I said, I can appreciate the fact that a lot of the machinery is a bit closer together.
Yeah, it's so much more entertaining.
Kimmy's getting a top 5. Kimmy top 5. It's his home track.
Yeah. He's doing so well. He's really getting comfortable in that car.
Yep. I want to see him in the top 5.
He's doing really well.
I mean, I could see a George Kimmy 4 and 5. Mm-hmm. I think he and George are both shoe-ins for probably top 5. It just depends who gets knocked out. I don't
know. I think we might see some real frustrations out of the Ferrari radios. Like, I think the niceties have gone. I think Lewis was patient.
Yep.
But you also are starting to see a lot of frustration from Leclerc as well, right?
Charles is getting frustrated too.
Yeah. It's not.
They're not in a good spot.
No. So I think you'll see, but I think it'll be a lot more apparent. So I think you'll see for one, I don't think you'll see a great result from them, and I think it'll be frustrating.
I think at this point, Ferrari is almost going to have to look at this season the way they did last year, and just be like, can we potentially win in Monaco, and can we find some crazy way to try to win in Monza? I feel like that's the goal for the year for them. Is like, can we stay in the top 5, and can we at least win, one of the marquee events for us?
Yeah, and Leclerc is exceptional in Monaco.
He
Exceptional.
is.
It's
He
like he's
is.
a different driver in a different car in that race.
Well, it's because,
And that
you
one's
know, home
next,
race.
right?
Home race.
Yeah.
You know, the Monegasque went into Monaco.
Well,
So,
they're all from there, but
yeah,
yeah,
but he's
he grew up
true
there,
local
born
boy.
and raised.
True
Yeah.
local boy. Born in the Principality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right. So, safety car makes its mark. McLaren for the win. Ferrari frustration.
Yeah,
And I've got
I
him.
think it'll be a bad result. I think they'll at least one of the two will have a bad result, and it will. I think it's going to implode at some point during this one.
And see, now my predictions just sound so cheesy. Max top 3, Kimmy top 5. Rachel's over here like with a full like on sentence. Like this is what's gonna happen. And I'm over here with a cop out.
Yeah, but I'm not winning by any
I'm
means.
not winning by any means at
I
all.
make these crazy predictions, but none of them actually come true. Actually, I did have two this week, but still.
Oh man.
And I just didn't want to choose Yuki because I feel like every one of my predictions is somehow related to Yuki because
That's
I'm
because
just
we believe
fangirling
in
so
him.
hard. Yeah,
We
we
believe in
really
him.
do.
Well, let's see. I think we get another Williams double top 10.
I like that one. That is a bold prediction because this isn't going to be a
It's
good
gonna be a
circuit
tough
for
race.
them either.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough race.
Yeah.
But I think that car, like I said, that car is continuing to improve,
Mm-hmm.
and Carlos is getting better. So,
He really is.
yep. So yeah,
Yeah.
Williams double top 10. So
I think another race or two, and I think we'll see old Carlos back again.
yep.
Yeah.
So
I really wonder what it would have been like if he had stayed at Ferrari because they seem like they're really struggling without him.
I think people are now realizing that he had way more effect on
Oh
the
yeah.
technical ability of that car than people really understand.
Mm-hmm.
He's usually, from everything I've seen about him and read about him, he's very in tune with mechanics, being able to talk to them about what he's feeling and different things about the car. So I think Ferrari lost a lot. Not that I think, Lewis is good at that. I think Charles is good at that, but
Mm-hmm.
there are certain drivers that just are in tune with that at a different level than others. And I think
Yeah.
Carlos is one of those.
Even though Charles did outdrive him for the season, like Carlos he was pretty profound in that car.
Well, and I think it's one of those. Charles might have, maybe he has a little bit more just pure natural ability.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can say it that way. But Carlos has the ace in the hole of his work ethic and understanding of the technical side of the car brings him closer to that level. It's just a different type of talent getting him there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So, well, folks, there you have it. HVAC Zoomies with another solid episode of semi-pro sports analysis and banter.
Just two friends, enthusiasts,
Yeah,
shooting
right.
the
It's
shit, really.
just two F1 enthusiasts shooting the shit, talking about some HVAC in between.
Yeah.
So, everybody, thank you for listening. As always, please make sure to go and follow the show at HVAC Zoomies on Instagram, as well as go find us on LinkedIn and Facebook. Also, make sure to go follow the HVAC R&D podcast, like and smash that subscribe button on whatever platform you listen to. Please leave us a review. Let us know what we do good. Let us know what we do bad so we can be better.
Mm-hmm.
Help us be better at our bold predictions. Get in the mix with us. Drop us a few comments. See what you think. Tell us what you think about your bold predictions for the race.
Exactly. Give us your bold predictions.
Right? Bring it on back. So thank you everybody for listening. Please enjoy the race this weekend. P3 and qualifying tomorrow on Saturday the 17th, race on Sunday the 18th. And it's the beginning of a triple header because we go to Monaco and then we go to España. So it's going to be a busy couple of weeks for the Zoomies with it being HVAC go time season as well. So, yeah. So thanks for listening, everybody. Enjoy it. Have a good time. Enjoy the race. We'll catch you soon. Peace.